Snow is still expected across areas of the southeast tomorrow, but the bigger story emerging from the models right now is what happens after this system exits. We are about to enter what could be one of the most active and potentially wintry stretches of the entire season. The pattern setting up for the final 2 weeks of January is absolutely loaded with winter storm potential, and I'm not just talking about the traditional snow zones up north. Areas further south that have been watching and waiting could finally see their opportunities arrive. Today is Saturday, January 17th, 2026, and I've got a lot of ground to cover. We're going to break down the latest on tomorrow's system, including the frustrating challenges that have made this one incredibly difficult to pin down. Then we're going to shift gears and look at what's developing beyond Sunday, because honestly, I think that's where the real action is heading. The MJO is progressing into favorable phases, blocking is setting up in the right locations, and the teleconnections are all pointing toward a pattern that winter weather enthusiasts have been waiting for all season. Let me start with the Sunday system, because I know that's what everyone's watching right now. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This one has been frustrating to forecast. The models have been all over the place, and even inside 24 hours of the event, there's still significant uncertainty about exactly who sees snow, how much falls, and where the transition from rain to snow sets up. Here's what we know with higher confidence. There's going to be a band of snow somewhere. The cold air is coming. The moisture is going to be there. The question is whether those two elements intersect over your location at the right time. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. The cold air is pressing southward, but it's encountering the higher elevations of the Appalachian Mountains. That dense, shallow cold air can't easily climb over the mountains, so it does something interesting. It funnels around the southern end of the mountain chain, diving into Georgia and the Florida Panhandle before it can work its way back northward into the Carolinas from the south and east. This creates a bizarre situation where it might be snowing in southern Georgia and the Florida Panhandle, while areas further north like Columbia and Florence, South Carolina, are still seeing rain. The cold air is hitting those southern areas first because it can scoot under the mountains and reach them faster. The Carolinas, sitting in the lee of the mountains, experience a lag before that cold air finally works in. The European model, which historically is one of the most accurate models we have, continues to show this scenario playing out. By late Sunday morning into the afternoon, it depicts moderate to heavy snow across southern Georgia, the Florida Panhandle near Mobile, and the low country of South Carolina. It's snowing all the way to Charleston to Orangeburg into Augusta, but notice how there's a pocket of rain persisting in eastern North Carolina, even while snow is falling further south. That's the cold air lag in action. The GFS model shows similar dynamics but has been trending northwest with each successive run, which is exactly what we expect with overrunning events. The latest runs show heavy snow as far north as Charlotte and Columbia, with the band of heaviest accumulation extending from Valdosta through Macon, Augusta, and into the South Carolina Midlands. So what's actually going to happen? If I'm being completely honest, and I always will be with you, I don't know. I don't think the National Weather Service knows either. This system is just exceptionally challenging because it hinges on the exact timing of cold air arrival versus moisture arrival, and small changes in either one produce dramatically different outcomes. Here's my best assessment based on the trends and the overall pattern. I'm confident that areas of Georgia, particularly the southeastern and south-central portions around Valdosta, Macon, and possibly even approaching Atlanta's southern suburbs, will see accumulating snow. An inch or two of wet snow is very possible in this zone. The Panhandle of Florida has a legitimate shot at seeing snow as well. I think there's going to be another jackpot zone somewhere in the northeast North Carolina into mid-Atlantic corridor. The Tidewater, Delmarva, and southern areas of Virginia show up consistently across multiple models for accumulating snow late Sunday into Sunday night. The big question mark is the I-95 corridor from Raleigh down through Columbia to Charlotte. These areas are right in the battleground where cold air lag could be the difference between a memorable snow event and a cold rain. Colombia in particular is a fascinating location because I think the moisture will absolutely be there, but the cold air timing is uncertain. If the trends continue northwest and the cold air works in just a bit faster than currently modeled, that corridor could see accumulating snow. If the cold air lags even slightly longer than expected, it's rain changing to snow at the very end with minimal accumulation. Now let me shift gears because what's developing beyond Sunday is what has me genuinely excited, and I think it's going to be the bigger story over the coming days. We are about to enter an extremely active pattern. I've been telling you for weeks that the second half of January could feature significant Arctic air and winter storm potential, and the models are now confirming that outlook in emphatic fashion. Let's start with the upper-level pattern. After Sunday's system exits, a strong trough digs into the eastern United States, while a massive ridge spikes all the way up into Alaska. When Alaska warms up and we maintain that positive PNA configuration, it dislodges cold air and sends it flooding southward into the lower 48. This is called a negative EPO pattern, and it's one of the most reliable indicators of sustained cold across the central and eastern United States. The cold air that arrives early next week is significant. Monday into Tuesday brings another shot of Arctic air, with temperatures running 20 to 25 degrees below average across a huge swath of the country. This isn't a brief cold snap. This is persistent, reinforcing cold that keeps building through the week. Here's where the trend over the last 24 hours has been remarkable. Models have been consistently showing that broad ridge across the southern tier of the country, breaking down around the January 22nd to 24th timeframe. When that happens, the storm track shifts southward, and winter weather opportunities extend much further south than they have been. The European model shows a massive winter storm breaking out across the Mid-South, the Ohio Valley, and the Appalachians around next Sunday into Monday. Cold air presses down from the north, and an ice storm develops across portions of the Carolinas and Tennessee with heavy snow to the north. This is not a forecast, but it's a signal that demands attention. The GFS shows an even more aggressive solution. Next Thursday into Friday, it develops a wintry mess across Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. Then by the following weekend, it explodes a huge winter storm across the entire eastern half of the country. Freezing rain and sleet across the southern zones, heavy snow across the northern zones, with the transition line somewhere through Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia. The fact that both major global models are showing similar timing and similar solutions for a significant event increases confidence that something is coming. The exact details will sharpen over the next week, but the pattern is screaming that winter weather opportunities are multiplying. Looking at the Climate Prediction Center's outlooks, they're painting the same picture. The 6 to 10-day outlook shows cold temperatures locked across the northern tier with above-average precipitation chances across almost the entire country. The 8 to 14-day outlook extends those cold anomalies further south and keeps elevated precipitation chances across the east. The reason this pattern is setting up so favorably comes down to the MJO, the Madden-Julian Oscillation. Right now, we're in Phase 6, which is typically a warmer and less favorable phase for eastern U.S. winter weather. But over the next few days, we transition through Phase 7 and into Phase 8. Phases 8, 1, and 2 are the golden phases for cold and wintry conditions across the central and eastern United States. Almost all guidance shows us reaching Phase 8 around the final week of January and maintaining favorable phases through early February. When you combine Phase 8 of the MJO with high latitude blocking, a favorable positive PNA, and the negative EPO we're seeing, you get a recipe for sustained cold and active storm tracks. This is the kind of pattern that produces memorable winters. Let me give you regional expectations for the rest of January. For the Deep South, including Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Florida, tomorrow's system brings your near-term opportunity. Accumulating snow is possible from the I-10 corridor northward, with the best chances in southeastern Georgia and the Florida Panhandle. Beyond that, the late January pattern keeps cold air in play and brings another potential winter weather event around January 24th to 26th. Even if tomorrow underperforms, there will be additional opportunities. For the Carolinas and Tennessee, tomorrow is uncertain, but watch the trends closely tonight and tomorrow morning. The period around January 22nd to 24th shows another system moving through with wintry potential. The January 24th to 26th window shows significant winter storm and ice potential. This region sits in the transition zone between cold air to the north and milder air to the south, which means ice could be a major concern with some of these systems. For the Mid-Atlantic, including Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and Washington, D.C., tomorrow's system could bring a band of accumulating snow late Sunday into Sunday night, particularly for the Tidewater and Delmarva regions. The late January pattern shows multiple opportunities for accumulating snow. If the major storm around January 24th to 26th verifies, this region could see significant impacts. For the Northeast, including Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and New England, tomorrow's system brings modest amounts at best, with coastal sections of southern New England having the best chances. The pattern beyond is much more active. Multiple Clipper systems track through next week, and the late January storm threat could deliver significant snow depending on track. For the Ohio Valley and Midwest, cold air dominates the next 2 weeks with multiple reinforcing Arctic blasts. The January 22nd to 24th timeframe shows a winter storm moving through. The late January pattern keeps storm chances elevated. For the northern plains and upper Midwest, you remain locked in the freezer for the foreseeable future. Temperatures run 20 to 30 degrees below normal at times. Wind chills plunge to dangerous levels. Heavy snow is possible during several periods, particularly around the January 22nd to 25th window when the Climate Prediction Center is flagging elevated heavy snow chances. The bottom line is this: if tomorrow's system underperforms for your location, don't get discouraged. The pattern we're entering is loaded with winter weather potential. The MJO is progressing into favorable phases. Blocking is setting up in the right locations. The cold air keeps reinforcing rather than moderating. Between now and the end of January, there will be multiple opportunities for significant winter weather across a large portion of the country. I've been saying for weeks that the second half of January could be active, and the models are now fully on board with that assessment. Winter isn't over. In many ways, it's just getting started. Stay tuned for daily updates as we navigate what promises to be an exciting and potentially historic stretch of winter weather.